This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, good afternoon. This is a public planning meeting. And so we will call the meeting to order. My name is Holly Melnick. I am the legislative assistant, so we'll call the meeting to order at 1 p.m. We will look for an election of a chair, as our current chair is currently unavailable. Do we have any nominations?
I'll nominate Brian.
And do we have a seconder for that?
I'll second it, Holly Michael.
And are there any other nominations? I'm hearing none. Deputy Mayor Milne, are you okay with that nomination?
You betcha. Yep.
All right, so we'll turn it over to the chair, Deputy Mayor Milne.
Thank you, Holly. Welcome everybody to our public planning meeting today. This is a public planning meeting regarding proposed zoning bylaw amendments pursuant to Section 34 of the Planning Act. We have two files today. One is C2-22 with Ruben and Saloma Martin, and the other is C3-22, Jerry and Velda Jack. So the first one will deal with the, oh, sorry, I got to read this. Any person or public body is entitled to attend the public meeting and make written or oral submissions in support of or in opposition to any of the proposed zoning bylaw amendments. Written comments should be submitted to the clerk, Lindsay Green, or to Holly Melnick. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of Southgate before the zoning bylaw is passed, excuse me, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of council of the Township of Southgate to the Ontario Land Tribunal. And in addition, they may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal unless, in the opinion of the board, there are reasonable grounds to do so. So the first zoning bylaw amendment filed to deal with this morning, or this afternoon rather, is C-22, Ruben and Saloma Martin. The purpose of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment application is to change the list of permitted uses to allow for dry manufacturing. Currently, metalwork and welding are permitted for the existing shop. The proposed use will be added to the existing permitted uses and the limitation on employees will be removed. The owners wish to add the dry manufacturing use to the list of permitted uses for A1-391 exception zone. The shop, including office and power room, is proposed to remain the same and has been previously approved for expansion of up to 345 square meters in size. The outside storage area is proposed to be 592 square meters. The effect of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment would be to change the zone uses on a portion of the subject lands to permit dry industrial uses within the existing agricultural exception zone, A1-391. Any environmental protection zone boundary may be adjusted based on Conservation Authority comments. The location is at Concession 14, Lot 26 and 27 in the geographic township of Proton. May I please have confirmation from the clerk that the proper notice was given in accordance with the Planning Act?
Thanks, Deputy Mayor Milne. With the clerk's absence, I can confirm that proper notice was given in accordance with the Planning Act.
Excellent, thank you, Holly. I'll now ask for our planner, Clint Stradwick, to review correspondence received from commenting agencies. Welcome, Clinton.
Good afternoon, Council and Chair Milne. The first set of comments I have are from the Public Works Department. They indicate a safe access can be provided. It's a rural asphalt standard for the road. A commercial paved apron is required, and it is a load restricted road. So that's the comments from the Public Works. The comments from the County of Grey indicate staff recommend reviewing the D6 guidelines of the county OP be reviewed to determine whether additional review would be required to ensure adequate mitigation measures are in place to minimize the effects of noise, odor, and dust, that sort of thing, to the neighboring lands. The proposal is well within the size parameters permitted for on-farm diversified uses as per Table 8 and Section 5.22 of the County OP, and therefore they have no further concerns. The Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority indicates the proposed zoning bylaw amendment is acceptable to the SVCA staff, and that is all the agency comments I have received to date.
Thank you, Clint. Is there any written or otherwise comments from members of the public?
None received.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion from council at this time? Jason.
Oh, just to Clint, when we usually do these, you don't usually get the county commenting about something like that, do we? Or am I dreaming? I didn't think we've seen them on some of the other ones.
Through the chair, yes, they comment on all of them. It is a different commenter, though, a different planner at the county, so she may style hers a little differently.
Okay. Any other questions, discussion? Okay, not seeing any. I'll now ask if the applicant or agent is present. Please identify yourself by stating your name for the record, and if you'd like to make any representation on your application at this time. I don't see anybody else. Nope. Okay. I'll ask the drill anyway. Is there anyone present who would like to make a submission in support of this application? Is there anyone present who would like to make a submission in opposition to this application? Not hearing any, I'll ask if there's any further or last questions or thoughts from the committee members. Okay, not seeing any. We will move on to the next file, which is C3-22 for Jerry and Velda Jack. Good afternoon, Jerry. Good to see you. The purpose of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment application is to add to the list of permitted uses a commercial vehicle repair shop to allow for the maintenance and annual safety inspection of trucks and trailers. The effect of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment would be to rezone a portion of the subject lands from agriculture A1 to agricultural exception A1-XXX to allow for the proposed use. The location of the proposal is at concession 10, lot 19 to 20 in the geographic township of Croton. May I please have confirmation from the clerk that proper notice was given in accordance with the Planning Act?
Thanks, Deputy Mayor Milne. Yes, proper notice was given in accordance with the Planning Act.
Excellent. Thank you, Holly. Clinton, do you have any correspondence received from commenting agencies you would like to report on?
Thank you, Chair Milne. Yes, so the first comments we have are from Public Works, indicating safe access can be provided. It's a rural asphalt road standard. A road widening is not required, but a commercial paved apron will be required for the entrance. And that's all the comments from them. The SVCA indicate the proposed zoning bylaw amendment is acceptable to the SVCA staff. And the comments from the County of Grey indicate it's understood that the owner of the property owns an active gravel pit and is proposing to service the aggregate vehicles through the subject application. The county would recommend that zoning restrictions be put in place to ensure that only aggregate vehicles from the owner's pit are permitted to be serviced on the property in order to avoid an influx of large trucks to the area without further study or review. It is further recommended that provisions be established that would limit aggregate trucks from being regularly stored on the property. They're indicating there's significant woodlands and several watercourses across the subject property, and they would like to see positive comments received from the Conservation Authority in that regard. From a general planning perspective, the county would recommend that a tree buffer be established along the western boundary of the shed and parking area to provide a noise/visual barrier from the neighboring property. And that's all the comments I've received.
Thank you, Clint. Any comments from the public?
None received.
Very good, thank you. I'll now ask, oh, sorry, any questions from council or the committee members rather? Discussion? Barb?
Good afternoon, and hello, Jerry. Nice to see you. My understanding from the description was this is just changing a use or adding to the permitted uses of an existing building. That could be clarified. And it does say that it would allow for repair and maintenance of its trucks and trailers. Does the requirement, Clinton, of the county that it only service aggregate vehicles limit Mr. Jack and his organization to, just gravel trucks, or is it, any of his company's fleet of equipment that could be serviced there? And then I guess my only other question is that if it's an existing structure and there doesn't appear to be any expansion and there isn't a tree buffer requirement there presently, there haven't been any complaints about the facility, why would it be a requirement? Thank you.
Clint?
Through the chair. So you're right, there is a shop there right now, and it's used right now for servicing agricultural vehicles, which are of course exempt and a permitted use in the bylaw. The problem comes now where Mr. Jack is requesting a letter from the township to do safeties on his vehicles and his fleet. And that letter is required by the Ministry of Transportation, I believe, to allow him to do these safety inspections, because he's having to travel quite large distances now to get them done. So he's hoping to save a bit on the ridiculous gas prices and do them closer to home. And more power to him in that respect. The problem comes in when you start not only doing agricultural trucks, but you're now doing the aggregate trucks as well, which are also part of his intention for that area. So that's why it actually requires the zoning. So there's no change to the shop itself. It's going to stay the same size, but now he's adding an additional use that's not agriculture, it's aggregates. And that's why the zone changed.
Thank you. And through follow-up?
Yep, by all means,
so
yep.
That was my understanding. And, I understood that it was simply a zoning change to add an additional use. And you've confirmed that it's not going to be a new building or an expansion of a building. What is the purpose of a tree buffer? And is the request by the county imposing any additional restrictions on the vehicles of his fleet that he would be able to provide those safeties for? And I commend Mr. Jack and his company. He not only will save on fuel costs and travel time and staff time getting the vehicles there, he will also contribute more favorably to his, improve his carbon footprint and the environment at the same time. So, thank you.
Clint, any response?
Yeah, just to as far as the tree buffer, that's sort of our discretion. That's a general planning matter, and if we don't see a reason to add that to it, if no one's complained so far, then we wouldn't. as far as the comments about the trucks and whatnot, I'm comfortable with including the trailers and whatnot if there are trailers there for the aggregate business only. We're not talking bringing other companies into this or anything like that. Just the aggregate trailers, in addition to his own agricultural fleet, obviously.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. Thank you, Clint. Any other questions or discussion from committee members? Okay, not hearing any. I'll ask now if the applicant or agent.
Hello?
Oh, go ahead,
Can you hear
Mike. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that we need to go above and beyond here with the trees and stuff like that. I mean, these trucks and this business has been going on for years. He's just adding that he's going to do his own safeties in-house. So, like, the trucks and everything have been parked there for years. Nothing is going to change around there. Everything is neat and tidy. So I don't see it putting in more cost to anybody at this point in time. I'm thinking it's just a formality.
Thanks, Michael. Martin, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Yeah, like as far as the trees, it's one of the nicest shops around. It's a good looking shop. It's well maintained. My question is, if it's only his trucks that he's working on, he's not bringing in any other, or I assume any other vehicles, any other companies to work on. As Michael just said, he's been there for years. Why would he have to have a commercial paved apron at the front if it's vehicles that are being used anyway? He's been doing it for years.
Clint?
You know, like, I know it's all part of the process, but
okay, so he hasn't been doing the safeties there, and this is sort of where we're I guess you would say we're bringing it up to a standard that the township would like to see it. So there is potential for where, now that he's going to be bringing his aggregate trucks in there, for additional wear and tear on the pavement, particularly the shoulder there. So that's where that comment would come in from the Public Works Department, and where we would ask that he make that improvement for that entrance.
Okay, Martin.
okay. Well, most of his trucks, yeah. Follow up. Most of it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Michael.
I was just going to say those trucks have been parked at that property ever since he started his business. They're always parked there. That's where they come and go from every day. So I'm not quite sure if the truck goes in the shop to get safetied or goes to the gravel pit to pick gravel up. There's going to be no more traffic in there than normal. So again, I don't know why we're adding cost to people.
Clinton, go ahead.
So I sort of liken this to what insurers do to people who have houses and whatnot, is they give people sort of a legal non-conforming status when it comes to things like their chimney and whatnot. But the second you change ownership, you're now required to get it wet certified and bring it up to the standard that they want to see for insurance purposes. That's what we're talking about here. He's requiring the township to provide a letter to him to allow him to safety his vehicles on site, and the aggregates is an additional use there. Normally it's not permitted to have your aggregate trucks there. These are supposed to be agricultural vehicles, right? So there's that difference. And now we're just asking him to bring that entrance up to a standard so that we're not left paying the cost of that down the road. Because by rights, those aggregate trucks shouldn't be there technically. They should be at the aggregate pit, right? So we're allowing a little grace there, but we're asking for a little permission here, or not permission, but for a little upgrade on his part to the entrance to protect the road and the township assets.
Martin, did you have anything further?
No, that's Fine. Thank you very much.
Okay. Anyone else? Jason? Go ahead.
I agree with Martin and Michael there. Like, he's not hauling loads in and out of this, so why? You know, it's different at a Mennonite shop where they're coming in and out with loads. As Mike said, they've been doing it for years. Why put the cost on them of it's just a private driveway basically? I understand what you're saying now. He's doing safeties, but is there any way we can overlook that? And you know what I mean? Same with the tree idea. Like people of the county got to get a clue. They've been there for years. So I don't know. Is there any way we can just say, hey, we don't need it paved or whatever, just to save a bit of money?
That's
ahead,
a slippery slope. Only because if you do that for this, someone else could make the same request. Certainly you have the option of saying, no, we don't want to do that. And when I bring forward the site plan, then that would be the case if it even needed a site plan. That's the other option, is you waive the site plan. I'm not suggesting we plant trees there or anything. I recognize it's an existing business, like our existing building, pardon me, but it is up to this council to do that. And when I bring it forward to council, we can have that discussion on whether or not you want to include that provision. But just be careful, if you do it for this one, you may end up doing it for other ones.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion from council?
Chair Milne, I'm not sure if you can see me. I'm having video issues.
No, I can't see you, but if you've got another question, go ahead.
I do. Thank you. I think we have the advantage of having the applicant here, and I think there's some confusion, perhaps on my part or others, that the aggregate trucks are going in and out of there on a daily basis anyway, and why require him to do something differently? But I believe that the aggregate trucks are not going in there on a regular basis, and the township would like to protect the road from the additional vehicles that are going to be going on and off that driveway. And I think when we get to the point where the applicant is present, if he would like to elaborate on the application, it may clarify a number of things. And I think Clinton has got the message that, you know, if it's not absolutely necessary, it's an existing shop, then, you know, we can consider those things at the site plan stage. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And yes, we're almost there to the applicant's comments, but I'm going to ask one more time. Council will have another opportunity later, but is there any more questions or comments right now? Okay, not seeing any. I'll now ask if the applicant or agent is present. Please identify yourself by stating your name for the record, and would you like to make any representation to this committee?
Jerry Jack.
Welcome, Mr. Jack.
Yes,
go ahead.
I would like to make a comment about what you guys are speaking about right now. The use of the shop is not changing at all. We'd just like to safety our own trucks, which are, we don't safety them right now, but we do our own maintenance anyway at the shop. It just saves one step, and right now there's no close place to get our trucks safetied. So that's all we would like to do. And as far as traffic going in and out of the shop, the trucks leave in the morning and they return at night, and that's about it. There won't be any more traffic. In fact, there'll actually be a little less traffic if we don't have to take them somewhere else to have them safetied. We're not going to be going in and out to have that done. So other than that, that's long and short of it.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'll ask now at this stage, is there anyone present who'd like to make a submission in support of this application? Not hearing anyone, I'll ask if there's anyone present who'd like to make a submission in opposition to this application. Any final questions or comments from council members? Okay, not hearing any. That brings us to the conclusion of the applications for today. And as we have completed our agenda, I will adjourn the meeting at 1:24. Thank you everyone for attending. Appreciate your input. Thanks, Holly.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Thank you. Bye.